Hey YouTubers, Raven here.
Starfire.
And tonight we're talking about The Flash.
Season 5, episode 19 or 20? 20. Gone Rogue.
Dun dun dun! Well, I guess before we start, since there's only, 2 weeks left?
I think there's going to be 23 episodes.
Okay, well, I mean... live stream for the season finale.
There might be 23. I'm thinking there's 2 to 3 left.
Yeah.
They didn't say it in the promo, did they?
No. They said something about, getting close to the end or something.
Let me see if it's if it has all the rest of them listed. Because usually The Flash has 23 episodes. So, maybe it's just 22. He faces off with his oldest and most formidable nemesis, Reverse Flash.
Sounds like the season finale.
Yeah, I think the finale is going to be May 14th.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we usually always do one for the finale.
Yeah, it never feels like it's that soon.
It doesn't.
But it is, so we have to start talking about it. Because you guys need to know ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, season finale. Live stream. As we watch it.
Or be square.
Right. 8 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah. And
you can watch it with us or whatever you do while we watch it and talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, tonight's episode.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was good, yeah.
I was mad at Barry for most of it.
Well, so was I.
I think we've been mad at Barry for the past 3 weeks.
I mean, I'm glad that he, realized his mistake.
Yeah, that he needs to actually act like a damn dad.
But he always has to have somebody else tell him.
Well, also, if he didn't get, I think it's also, a different, Iris is just no, I'm her mom. Period. I'm her mom. She's my daughter from the future. And Barry is just okay, so there's this future version of me that has a kid.
Right.
You know,
it still hasn't registered for him.
Yeah, because women are naturally built with this motherly intuition, and, some women ignore it, and some just actually don't have it, which is sad. But,
or they have it and they never get to be a mother.
Yeah. But Iris has it, and it kicks in automatically when she finds out that she's her daughter. But Barry is he didn't go through the motions of becoming a father. It was just boom.
Right, and he
I'm
even
your daughter.
Said, he's it still feels weird to me when she calls me dad.
Yeah, because he didn't have to watch his wife get pregnant, go through all the pregnancy issues and go through, he didn't go through that. That's the road of acceptance that the husband goes through. The wife is just hey, I'm pregnant and I'm going to have a baby, and I feel like a mom already. And the husband has those 10 months, not 9, that's a misconception, those 10 months to come to terms with the fact that he's going to be a dad.
Mm-hmm.
And Barry never got those 10 months.
I think it's just because most women find out, about, a month.
1 to 2 months in.
So they say that it's 9 months.
Because you have 9 months left.
But technically, 40 weeks is 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
Most women don't get to full term. Most have it early. Some have it late. It just depends, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so.
You learn something new every day. But yeah, so, that's why Barry's never really... I mean, he's had a connection with her, but it was more so just as a speedster.
Right.
And he thought that it was more, he thought the feelings were more fatherly. Like, he was always worried about her as his daughter, but it still never really sunk in that he was a dad and he had to start freaking acting like one.
Yeah.
Because, like, you don't really know how you want to act as a father or as a mother until after the child is born and you're going through the motions as they're growing.
Yeah.
Like, when they're a baby, that's when you decide how you want to raise them, who you want to be as a parent. And because it's like you see the little person and you kind of get to know them.
Right.
And you're like, okay, this is how I'm going to handle this. But like I said, Barry never got that. And for women is generally easier because
I think what just pissed me off the most about him tonight was the scene with him and Iris. Where
he kept yelling at her again because of the whole Thawne thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's like, no, it should matter. It should matter that she's acting that way. And you should try to come to or figure out why it's happening and talk to her and sit down and be like, okay, look, why are you so upset? You know, because they're her parents.
Yes.
That is what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. Like,
I don't care if you have such a freaking, you know, whatever it is against him. I understand why you hate him as much as you do. I get that. I seriously get it. And like Joe said, he doesn't trust him, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to trust his daughter and his granddaughter because he does trust them wholeheartedly.
Right.
And if they're saying, you know, saying that Thawne might actually care about Nora and actually gave Iris advice about the fact that maybe she should go talk to her husband, well then, okay, there's a reason for him to be a little bit more liked than, you know, he has been before.
Right. Although I do think that the only reason why he cares so much about Iris and Barry keeping their marriage is because that, like, she is Barry.
Yeah.
You know, without her, there is no Flash.
It's for, you know, it is for his own benefit, his own ulterior motives, of course.
He wouldn't be who he is without the Flash, and the Flash wouldn't be him without her.
Exactly. So, I mean, you know, he knows what happened, so he wants to make sure that, you know, they make up and everything works goes as it's supposed to go in order for those things to happen.
But even when Nora's not there, you can see these subtle expressions on his face, on Thawne's face, that make it seem like he cares.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he actually knows that his actual time is coming up, that he is going to die. I know that the season finale thing sounds like he gets out, whatever, sure.
I don't think he's going to get out. I think Barry's just going to go to the future where Nora's time, and he's going to face him.
Well, I think that no matter what way it goes, he knows that his time is coming to an end.
Right, and he's trying to redeem himself.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't start down the whole worship of Barry Allen to be evil.
Right. I mean, do you think that he's redeemable?
Because
I know there's some villains that are just, no matter what they do to try to redeem themselves and look like a better person, they just are not redeemable.
Right. Well, I think it's not a question of whether or not a character is redeemable. It's a question of whether or not their personality has changed.
Yeah.
That's the redeemable aspect, is who they are.
Right.
If they have changed.
If they've grown from that mistake that they made.
Right. Like.
And they're willing to make it better.
Right. He didn't grow the whole time he was, you know, out there fighting against Barry. Like, that was still, blah, 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 and the evil version of you, you know.
Yeah.
But this is a guy who's been sitting in jail for all of Nora's life. So that makes him in jail for 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
He has had time to reflect, and he's been tortured every day by that guard since he's arrived.
Right.
So I think that he's had time to think about what he's done, where he started, why things got this way, and what he wants to leave behind as a legacy.
Yeah.
And he knows that his legacy is the Reverse Flash. But it doesn't have to only be that. He taught Nora everything she knows.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some things that he couldn't teach her that Barry taught her. But she wouldn't have been able to save Barry without him.
Right.
So Barry survives Cicada because of him. His legacy is saving the Flash and the Flash family.
Yeah.
Whether or not that goes down in history, it doesn't matter because that's his legacy.
Right.
He knows it and they'll know it. Whether or not the world knows.
Yeah.
And I think that that's kind of where he's at. And I think this version of him is redeemable. I do say that, however, with the whole I still don't trust him. He's
well, yeah.
gone.
I mean, you can't trust him. He's gone.
the version of himself that you're seeing,
right?
On the outside, it looks like he's a redeemable person now.
I mean, I don't trust Thawne either, of course.
Do you think he was redeemable or not?
I mean, I agree with what you were saying. Like, there has to be an element of growth there with knowing that what they did was bad and them trying to fix it and make it right and make it better. Even though, like, they can't change what they did, they're growing from it. Like, I know you haven't watched One Tree Hill, but, like, the main person on that who is considered the villain was, like, Dan Scott. And, like, in the show, he kills his brother. So it's kind of like a Cain and Abel thing. Like, he was always envious of him because he was the older brother and, like, people liked him. He was, he was just a better person.
Right.
And, like, so on this school shooting episode, like, he goes in and, like, Keith, who was the brother, went in to try to, help the kid who had the gun on everyone because he, had been bullied and he was one of those people that was, like, doing it because of how he'd been treated by people. And, Keith was trying to, like, be the hero and be like, it gets better, it's okay. And, like, then Dan comes in and, like, he takes it and just, like, kills him. And so, anyway, like, his sons, of course, Nathan, who was the one that he raised because he has 2 boys, but they're half brothers because they have different moms, but they have the same dad. And he chose to raise Nathan and not Lucas. And so Lucas just kind of, he's like dead to him. He doesn't even really think of him as his father, but he always thought of Keith as his father because Keith and Lucas's mom, Karen, were really close. And so to him, Keith was his, like, a father to him, even though he was his uncle. And, like, so he was, of course, like, just felt completely betrayed and even worse off from it. And, like, Nathan also didn't want to, like, have him around and stuff. And so anyway, eventually, like, as the show goes on, he tries to, like, redeem himself and become a better person. And by the end, like, he kind of did, and he, was better because he learned from it and he had grown. So yeah, in that aspect, I do think that if Thawne had grown from it, he would be redeemable, but he kind of really hasn't.
Well, we haven't seen it. He's been stuck in prison for 20 years.
Like,
we don't know where he's been emotionally.
So we haven't seen any of that with his character.
Right.
If we had, then we could be like, okay, maybe he is. But that doesn't mean that would change Barry's opinion of him.
Right.
Because Barry's always going to think of him as the guy who killed his parents.
Yeah.
His mom. But, like, he's always going to think of him that way. And no matter what, if Thawne is mentioned or if Thawne is involved, he's not going to like it. He's always going to hate it. He's always going to let that get to him. And like Joe said, he's in your head. But, like, I trust my granddaughter, and I know that, like, what she's saying is true.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I thought he was going to say his daughter.
Yeah.
And then he said granddaughter, and I was like...
Right. I was like expecting him to say, but I trust Iris.
Yeah, exactly. I was expecting
because
that
Iris
too.
trusts her.
Exactly. Because that was where it was leading to me.
Right.
So I thought that Joe was gonna say, "I trust my daughter,"
and my daughter trusts her, so I trust her.
Yeah.
So...
But then he said granddaughter, and I was like, "What?"
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the point is, Nora. The only reason Nora was working with him was so she could see her dad.
Yeah.
That was literally the only reason that she was working with Thawne.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had, he could give her the tips and ways that she could get there to see him. Because he's the Reverse Flash and he has these powers.
Yeah. And
he knows more things of how to get through the Speed Force unnoticed and things like that. So... her learning from him is kind of invaluable because if she hadn't, she wouldn't have been able to get to their timeline and see Barry.
Mm-hmm.
And Barry was just letting the fact that she was working with Thawne consume him, and that was the only thing he was thinking about, not the fact that she felt abandoned and felt like nobody cared about her or trusted her,
mm-hmm.
and she felt like she wasn't loved.
He treated her the same way that the team in the future treated Savitar.
Yeah.
Because in that timeline, Barry had died, and what was left behind was one of his time remnants as a version of him.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole team couldn't deal with the fact that Barry was gone, but there was still this version of him, so they all turned their backs on him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not the same, but at the same time, it's the same, in a manner of speaking, the way he treated her is the way they treated him.
Right.
And it just shows how much Barry actually learns from his mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know he travels through time all the time to fix his crap. He doesn't learn.
He doesn't.
And...
I mean, he's learned now. Kind of.
Even though Barry is a hero, I would argue to say that he screws most, he screws most of it up. Not by accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the reason that a lot of people prefer Marvel to DC is because they feel like the way that they portray the characters with, the flaws and the things that they have, as well as being a superhero, is more realistic and relatable than it is with DC characters. But I feel like they do that with the DC characters, too.
They do. It's more so that Marvel, even though they do have the God aspect with Thor and, aliens...
Right.
They have their abilities and everything like that is more grounded in reality.
Okay.
And it's Iron Man could happen.
Yeah.
We could, some smart-ass scientist could build himself an Iron Man suit and go around calling himself Iron Man. That could legitimately happen.
Right.
I mean, it wouldn't happen with the same core and everything, you know.
Right.
Because we don't have that.
Yeah.
But we have the technology that could create a version of Iron Man.
Yeah.
And
it's actually titanium alloy, but I mean,
right.
That's what he says in the movie.
Uh-huh. But there are these, Spider-Man, okay?
He gets bit by a radioactive spider.
Right. I mean, technically that would happen, but it would probably actually kill you.
Yeah.
But...
Depends on how much radiation it is.
The movies get it wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't get his webbing as a part of his abilities. His webbing is made with his scientific knowledge. And
really?
He has canisters.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
He's a scientist.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, when he gets bit by the spider, the only abilities he has is the sensing danger and ability to stick to crap. Like, he can stick to walls.
Although it was... Oh, I can't mention it. I can't.
Nope, you can't. So, like...
Not on camera.
Nope. So, in the movies, all the movies, he goes like that.
Yeah.
And the webbing shoots out. Well, where the hell does it shoot out from?
Right.
I'm sorry. No.
From in his skin?
Right? Like, a little thing right there.
In the new movies, have they done that with the canisters?
I don't think so.
Okay. Have any?
I mean, maybe they did. I think the one before this version.
The Amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah. I think that
I didn't see
did.
Those. I
know one of the versions did, but I don't think it's the current one.
I've only seen the Tobey Maguire ones and then the current ones.
Because it wasn't Tobey Maguire. They did,
and then Into the Spider-Verse, but they didn't do it on that.
Right. Either. Peter Parker, he creates this synthetic webbing.
Yeah.
With chemicals.
Okay.
And then he puts it in a canister, creates this little mechanism that when he pushes down on a button in his palm...
It creates the webbing.
Right. It shoots the webbing out.
Right.
So that's why he does that.
Mm-hmm. Maybe the canisters are hidden underneath the suit.
And you'd have to make the webbing first.
Yeah.
But, like, in the Tobey Maguire ones, he's standing there out of his suit,
doing
bare arm doing that.
I know.
Like,
yeah,
and then whatever, and then boom, and
right.
that. Why is he doing that? He could just do that.
Right.
What's this?
I don't know.
He's not pushing anything. That's why he does it. He pushes a button down to release the.
Right.
That's what it's for.
But I mean, like, okay.
So technically, today, if you could get the right combination of chemicals, you could create real webbing like Spider-Man.
Yeah. So with DC, they're more like gods or alien type things, right?
Like, you can't be...
But you could be Batman.
Yes. They did have a few of those.
Yeah.
But Marvel had more. And, I mean, they're both relatable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, do you find science grounded in reality
more interesting?
Right. Is that more you, or is legend and mythos more you?
Right.
Like, I mean, even though Thor is like a god and everything,
god of war,
it's still, his society is still science based.
Yeah.
He said that you guys might call it magic, but it's just science.
Yeah.
Like, he said that in one of the first movies.
Right.
So it's just science.
Yeah.
All of it's just science.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of space travel, well, we're trying in current day.
Right.
Like, we're working towards that. That's a reality for our future.
Right. So people tend to like the more reality based, you know, like,
then Marvel is generally what they go for.
Yeah. I mean, I like both, but yeah.
Which is why you like both versions of things. Why you like Marvel and why you like DC.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same for me. I do prefer DC over Marvel, but I still love Marvel. Yeah. DC is my favorite. Because it's more of what I grew up on.
Yeah. Makes sense.
The only Marvel I really grew up on was X-Men.
Yeah.
Other than that, everything that I watched was DC.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's why you like one or the other, generally speaking.
True. And if you grow up with it, too.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just was, like, thinking about that because, like, you know, Barry does have very real flaws that are relatable. But he's just, I don't know. You can't really say his powers are grounded in reality necessarily.
No. The Speed Force isn't...
Yeah.
I mean, because it's sentient, it's not... I mean, who knows?
Right.
Like, we're not scientifically advanced enough to be able to look through, like, dimensions and reality itself. So, there could be a Speed Force out there that's waiting for someone to get struck by lightning and get powers.
Right.
But, like,
I mean, it's like Shazam. Freaking a wizard transfers his powers over to this kid when he says his name. Mm-hmm. And, like, anytime he says Shazam, he becomes Shazam.
Yeah.
Like, that's not reality.
No.
That's, like, magic.
Yes.
And wizardry.
Yes, and it's DC, and it's amazing. It's the original Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
But...
yeah. But anyway, like, I don't know. And then the whole Caitlin and Ralph thing, like...
yeah, like... I love how they played it off.
Yeah.
Like... I'm sorry, Caitlin, I just don't see you like that. Ew, no, oh, no. It's like, oh, come on, you guys legitimately had a moment there for a second.
You did.
Like, I mean, I'm not saying that I ship them, but they would make a cute couple.
They would.
And, I mean, I would not be opposed to them getting together.
No.
Because he needs someone to ground him, and she needs someone to help her let loose.
Right.
And they're the perfect
they would
opposite
balance each other out.
Right. They're opposites completely, and yet they're so suited for each other.
Yeah, usually opposites are. Yeah. Because it's that yin-yang thing. They balance each other out. Mm-hmm. They each have something that the other person doesn't have, thus balancing the other person.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I also really thought that it was pretty cool, like, with Cisco and Sherlock, how they, like, with the bee stuff, like, how they did that.
Yeah.
That was funny.
He was like, if we move slowly, and he's like, bruh.
He's like, whoa, what in the world?
I've mastered the art of escapism.
And then he does it to Cisco, and he's like, how did you do that?
There's actually... a hero out there who does that for, like, yeah, there's a here, I don't know which universe he's from, Marvel or DC or whatever, and I don't remember his name, but he's basically a Houdini.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Like, and it's, like, legit.
Yeah.
You know? So, it is pretty cool, and so, like, that moment, I was like,
and I was like, I knew that, like, Weather Witch and Bug-Eyed Bandit or whatever she's called, were gonna betray Nora. Kind of. Like, I didn't know for sure,
right.
But I figured they probably would at some point, because when she was so insistent on them, like, not killing anyone, yeah. I felt like they were gonna be like, nope. Change of plan. We want to do it our way, and we want to do this, and you're not a part of that.
Yeah.
So, like, I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Right. I did not see that that the whole team would trade places with
that was people. Freaking awesome. I was not expecting that. And then, like, when the Flash was acting that way, like, I was like, wait. And then Sherlock, of course, the reason that he was acting like that was because it was Sherlock playing him.
He was doing all these quotes from ancient dead people.
And then, like, they like, changed over, and they was Iris and Joe and Barry, and I was like, sweet.
Yes. I love how they brought back the pen that changes the face.
And they looked so badass with their sunglasses and their guns.
Yes.
And, like, all black, man.
Holy hell, I loved
And then, like, the white background with the contrast in that one room. Like, it looked like a freaking movie.
It did. I loved it so much. And I loved how, like, Joe was getting, like, injured so bad. And then Iris comes over, one punch, two, and the dude is out.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
his head just goes,
just spins around, and it
full Exorcist.
Right? Freaking,
I'm like, hell yeah.
360, man. And she does the spider crawl, too. I think that's why this guy freaking creeps me out, because in The Exorcist, she does that walking like that, like the spider walk, like he does. And it, like, freaks me out.
But she does it and, like, hangs from a ceiling, right? Just like
no, she, like, walks down the stairs doing it.
Oh, kind of like Grudge. Okay.
Yeah. It's weird. But anyway. just the way that he can contort his body is just so creepy to me.
Yeah.
And then the fact that, like, there's no eyes, it's just black in the, like, eye holes. It just, like, it's so demonic looking. It's just creepy to me. Ugh.
Does his mask not come off?
It's, like, creepy AF, man.
Right.
I can't.
I thought we were done with him.
Mm-hmm. I thought so, too. And then he comes crawling out of that box, and I'm like...
My first words when he crawled out of the briefcase thing was like, that's so flat.
Right? Like, how could he fit himself in there?
Yeah, I was like, what? How did that work? Did he stand in it and then pull himself down? Does he even have any bones?
Like, how can he be like that?
He's a meta. It's just meta.
I know, but still, it's just weird.
He was going through something when the particle accelerator happened. Like, I don't remember what. I forgot. Like they said.
Yeah.
But it was something that was forcibly contorting his body. And so he got contortionist abilities. Oh. I don't understand how contortionist abilities allows him to fit in something that big, or just put his head into a pipe that's smaller than it.
Oh, that was so gross.
I loved Weather Witch. She was like, yeah, I'm going to throw up now.
And I was like, same. Same. Like, I can't with that.
Right. But I just...
So gross.
Yes. Like, that pen, I keep coming back to it because it's such a throwback to
it's an Easter egg.
Not
an Easter egg, but it's a throwback, yeah.
What was his? I mean, he was Harry.
But
was he Harry? Like, was that the version? Did we call him Harry?
Who?
The one from Earth 19. The writer.
Oh, I think so.
Was he Harry?
I think so.
Because you had Harrison, like, you had Dr. Harrison or Dr. Wells or whatever. And then you had...
Well, Earth 2, wasn't that Harry? I don't even know. But anyway, I really liked seeing the Joe Barry heart-to-heart because I feel like we haven't had that in a long time.
Yes.
And I always liked when Joe would give him advice and be there for him like that and kind of set him straight.
Right.
So I that was something that I enjoyed because I really missed that. Like I just wanted to point that out.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah.
Like it felt like old times. It felt like season 1, season 2, because like that's what he always used to do for him.
Yeah. So. Well, I mean, I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we talked about everything you wanted us to talk about. One particular commenter. Yes, I'm calling you out. Sorry.
I mean, they were right. You know, like we didn't really talk much about Exas going evil.
And I mean, in this episode, like she was already there, and we saw the reasoning behind it. It was because she felt like nobody trusted her,
but she still had to get something done to save everyone.
Yeah.
So she had to stay in a negative headspace.
Right. But like, I mean, it was the main reason behind it was because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
He abandoned her.
Mm-hmm. Which I think we, like, touched on a little bit last week.
A little bit.
As one of the ideas of why.
I think we were just so pissed off over the way Barry was acting last week that we just didn't focus on that.
Right. Like.
So, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because we were so focused, I think, on the fact that Barry was being a dick.
Because he's the main character, and it's really hard to not focus on him when he's doing something stupid. Mm-hmm. So, like, of course that's going to be our main priority.
Yeah. And so...
But yeah, I mean, like, I'm glad that things are better again.
Mm-hmm.
But... And I did really like the eye mask she was wearing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, the main reason behind it was just because of abandonment and trust issues and that type of stuff. Like, if they'd both been there, it wouldn't have happened.
Like, you saw it in that moment when she was trying to steal the phone, and Barry's like, come home. Like, she was like, I want to so bad. But she's like, I need to do this first.
Yeah.
I need to do this.
Right.
And so she had to make herself pissed at him again. She had to remember that he abandoned her. She had to force herself to relive the instant anger and regret and hopelessness that she felt when he abandoned her in the future, so that she could turn on him and keep doing what she was trying to do.
Yeah, because, I mean, she loves Iris, but, like, Iris was around during her life. Barry wasn't. So she wants to know her dad. And when her dad, the one person she put all this time and effort into trying to get to and see, abandons her, of course she's going to be angry and upset and enraged because she feels like he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And that she's not loved.
Right. But, like, she knew that she was. She knew that he didn't feel that way. But in order to be able to do what she had to do, she knew she had to stay in that mental space. So she had to keep focused on those emotions.
Yeah.
To push out the good ones. Right. So that she could continue to do what she had to do. But, yeah.
It makes sense.
I think that when it was all over, she was gonna, like, return to them, or, like, I mean, not when she got the gun, but when she was able to go against, Cicada 2, which is a stupid ass name. But, you know, like, when you went after her and, like, destroyed the weapon.
Right.
Or if she discovered she couldn't do it on her own, even if she had the weapon, then she'd go to the team again.
So what is Cicada 2's plan then now?
She's going to kill all the Metas.
Okay. But, I mean, that's been her plan the whole time.
Yeah, but with the weapon, with that spear that she took, the Sub-Zero spear, and the antidotes and everything, the antidotes weren't fully developed, and they were, they're in a state in which it doesn't cure. It straight up just kills. Okay. So I think she's going to make it airborne. So I wonder how she's going to save herself. You know, little Grace. But, yeah.
Interesting.
One more thing before we go. Do you think that was really him at the end? When she was saying the nursery rhyme and she was fiddling with...
I think it was probably just her mind, like a vision, you know?
Because we know he's dead. She killed him with the knife.
I think it was just, like, her seeing him, you know?
Yeah, because she was reliving the memory.
Right.
Okay, so what do you guys think about that? Did she bring him back somehow?
I hope not.
Right. Or what's going on in that? Is it just her, like,
I think
memory
it's like
of
her.
him?
I think it's her memory.
Right. So, yeah, let us know your thoughts and comments about tonight's episode, and anything you want us to touch on, we'll communicate with you in the comments.
Yes.
And
our live stream will be in a couple episodes.
Yes. 2 episodes.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Everything's ending.
I know, it hurts.
But also it's great because then it gives me more time to watch other things.
Right.
That I've been wanting to see.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So, until next time, keep believing in the impossible.